Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Early Birds podcast. This is a special episode. I am a guest today, Rami Jamil, with our special guest and friend, Kyle Lang. He is a broker at a real estate broker at Remax Dream Properties. Getting up early is a big deal. We've got the Early Birds podcast because it's all about starting the day right. Early bird gets the worm. It's the good old saying, one of my favorites. So we wanted to bring you in here because we know you've done a lot on your own as a producing real estate agent.
Yep.
But now with your own team, growing that while you're growing your family. And what I wanted to find out and talk to you about today is, how do you do it? What's so important to you about getting up early, and what has it done for you in the past few years in your career to help you propel the way you have?
Yeah, so mine's actually kind of transitioned a little bit. First off, thanks guys for having me. Yeah, mine's transitioned a little bit. So up until about 4 months ago when my son was born, I was up at 6 every day, out the door to the gym, and then try to be in the office before 8 a.m. was like my general goal, and beat everyone there. Transitioned that a little bit now. I got a 4-month-old. I have my daughter who just started kindergarten as well. So now I'm up early every morning, but I'm 100% in dad mode, right? Where it's like getting the kids ready for school, helping get everyone out the door. We're fortunate enough to where we live in a community where our elementary school is actually in our neighborhood, so we walk to school every morning. So now it's transitioned a little bit, but it's still all about like getting up. I'm a huge proponent of just having a positive mindset. So with anything that I'm doing, I just try to keep a positive mentality about it and just start your day off on the right foot. I think it's huge to just any form of success, whether you're in the real estate industry, whether you're doing mortgages, whatever you're doing, like starting your day off the right way, I think is crucial just to success in your career.
Yeah, without a doubt. I agree. It's in my personal experience, I think it's a little bit more difficult with the kids. I think it's a little easier to just get up and go to the gym.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
So tell me a little bit about, what's changed between being a full-time producing agent, because we've got a lot of viewers here, and some people are going to be a self-producing person that's kind of working on their own path.
Sure.
But also like what you've done right now, which is taken over an entire brokerage.
Yep.
You've scaled it a ton.
Yep.
I know you work with a lot of our partners and friends. I know Alex Wojner happens to be a really good friend of yours who I'm very fond of, and he kind of brings me up to speed on what you guys are doing, and it's nothing short of like amazing.
Sure.
So like what has that? How's that vision and path look like for you over the last year and a half or so?
So I'll kind of start it from the beginning. So I started in the industry in April of 2016. I had worked, my family owns a used car dealership. So I worked for my dad for a couple of years, and I just wasn't feeling it. It was the same thing every day it wasn't for me. I needed a change, needed to do something different. I got a wife who likes expensive shit, and I was like, what can I do where I can actually make money? And so that's when real estate ended up being the next go-to. And when I started with that, I went to the agent that we had used when we had bought and sold our houses. And I just told her, hey, I'm thinking about getting into the industry. One, do you think I'd be a good fit? And two, do you think I'd be a good fit for your brokerage? She's like, I think you'd do great at it. And she said, yeah, I'd be happy to sit you down and introduce you to Lisa, who was my broker. So met Lisa. I interviewed at one brokerage. There's so many agents, especially now that I'm on the other side of the desk, is what I like to say, in the broker role, where they go in and they talk to 5-6 agents. I'm like, yeah, do your research, but you also you have to kind of when you know, right? It's just like when you got married, right? Like when you one moment hit for your wife where you were just like, all right, she's the one. This is the one that I'm going to marry. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this woman. For me, it was, I went in, I interviewed with them, and I was like, yep, this is the brokerage for me. This is where I want to be. So with being with a Remax office as well, Remax is a little bit different. Actually, fortunate enough, this year in 2023, we're celebrating 50 years in the industry is how long Remax has been around. But with that being said, it's one of those brands that it's a tried and true method, which is what I really liked about it. But secondly, too, just knowing there are other high-end producers, just like you guys see it here. I mean, you guys have a lot of really good loan officers that work here. And iron sharpens iron, right? Like, you're going to become a better loan officer by being around other really good loan officers that are going to help you level your game up. And that's what I wanted, right? I wanted to go work at a place where if I didn't know how to handle a situation, I could walk down the hallway and there'd be 3 other agents that have probably done it 300 times, and I could talk to them about it. So I started off, I just did it part-time for the first 8 months. And then at the end of 2016, I was like, all right, we were expecting my daughter, and I had a decent year. I think I did like 14 transactions in those first 8 months, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to like go all in on this. So that's when I left the job at the dealership working for my dad, and started full-time as an agent, which, I mean, I don't know if people realize this. I'm sure everyone that's watching this podcast does, but like, you know, being an agent, 100% commission, no benefits, right? Like you're on your own. I was, 24 years old, had my first kid on the way. But my wife was always super supportive about it, and it was one of those situations where she's like, if you're not happy with what you're doing, like you need to change your situation, no matter what it is, no matter how comfortable we were, like you need to change that. So transitioned into the agent role. My first full year in the business, I did $5.5 million. I want to say on like 36 transactions, and then it just grew every year. The next year I was at $8 million. The year after that I was at $9 million. Then $12 million, and then up to last year, when I was the number 1 RE/MAX agent in the region, $22 million on 127 transactions. Yeah, and so I 100% myself. Never had a processor, never had an assistant. Fortunately enough, at RE/MAX Dream Properties, we're what I call a full service brokerage. So essentially, what that means is, from the time I get an offer accepted, all I really got to do is turn in the package, and the admin staff, they order the title work. They're going to handle all the back end stuff, but I'm still involved making sure that the appraisals are ordered, everything worked out with C of O. I'm still communicating with title if the mortgage payoffs, things like that. But having the full support staff there has been super beneficial. But yeah, so did it all on my own. People all the time, I see people that they're running around and they're stressing. They're doing 35, 40 transactions a year, and they're like, I need an assistant. I was like, you don't need an assistant. You need to work. Like, that's what you need to do, right? Like, it's all about time management, just like getting up early. Like, for me, when I was up in the office before 8 a.m., I would, because, I mean, the rest of the world isn't working right now, guys, right? You know what I'm saying? But you can get ahead by so much. So now this time of day is when you need to be doing all your scheduling, all your planning, and then anything that you can do paperwork-wise, like that's what you could knock out. I would have more done by 9 a.m. than most agents are going to get done by working from 9 to 6 because I was just up early getting after it, and I was super simple with it. A lot of people, like I see like these dry erase boards and stuff like that. I never got into those. I would just keep a piece of just like scrap paper on my desk, and I would just have every pending file that I currently had. And I would just go through, all right, like what I got to do for this one. All right, this is, I checked on this one yesterday. I'm good here. And just go through that list every single day and just make sure that I was staying on top of it. And then that was really it.
I love how you said that was really it.
Yeah.
Because the things you describe, I can relate to,
yeah.
Having worked in the mortgage industry for 10 years now and doing purchase. I did purchase primarily. I was a guy that didn't write a refi, until 2017.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been in the game for that long, which is kind of crazy. So I did
right.
purchase, and I worked with people like you, and you're not normal for doing that. And it's a special thing.
Sure.
But it sounds like the biggest thing. It sounds like the biggest thing is your consistency.
Yeah. 100%. Like I tell all our agents that too. Like you got to keep chopping wood, man. Like for me, there's things that I do. I call them money-making habits, right? There's things that I do that I know are going to work for me. It's like whether I've got 3 pending files or if I got 13 pending files, I'm doing the same thing every single day because eventually it's going to turn around, right? And like this business is so much of a momentum business. I mean, you get it, right? Like once you get 2 or 3 deals in the drawer, it's so much easier to get up to 5, 6, 7, 8 versus like when you're sitting there stressing about it, right? It's like, no, man, it's not worth it. Like keep doing the things that have gotten you to where you are, and they're going to work over time. It's tried and true. There's so many agents that, this time of year, November, December, January, this is the slow season. Like for me, this was always my busiest season. Always. And I think a lot of it was because when I first started, I was working with a lot of first-time home buyers, right? And so first-time home buyers, like, they don't care about a school schedule, right? Like, they don't got to get the kids in by a certain time. They're just ready to go, and they just all enjoyed their summer, and they were doing whatever it is they want to do. And now they're going to buy a house in the winter. That way they can, do whatever they need to do to get it ready, and they're ready to go for next summer so they can get back out at the lake or go out and do whatever they want to do. So there's always an opportunity to be busy in this industry. You just have to know where to look for it.
For sure. It's, I mean, like the things that I'm hearing is, and I've had limited interactions with you in comparison to like Alex Wojner or Haddad. They get to know you a little bit more, but you know, I'm getting to like you more and more just by hearing what you're saying. I may even offer you a job after.
All right,
you probably won't take it, but
No.
would love to have somebody like you. It sounds like dude, your mindset's on point.
Yep.
You know, you're an early bird. It's not easy to be a morning person.
Sure.
You know, my wife is one of the most optimistic, sweet people in the world,
Yeah.
but she's not a morning person.
Yeah.
You're clearly a morning person. You clearly keep that, you know, that same level head.
Yeah.
You don't let things get through to you. It sounds like, hey, these are just the steps to take. But what are you doing for your mantra, for your mind, in order to operate this way at a young age? You sound like you're probably what, my age, 30, 31? Yeah.
30.
So like, how have you gotten to that type of level?
Yeah.
To be able to take care of your kids, wake up every day, get punched in the face oftentimes in this business as we do.
Yep.
Still know that I'm going to continuously take these actions
Yep.
to find success. And do it over and over again, because you know that's the biggest diff maker. You'll see a flash in the pan in this industry. You'll see a flash in the pan in any industry.
Yep.
You'll see a flash in pan in your life. People have highs in life and really like big lows in life, and that's normal. How are you keeping it like this right now? Because it looks like for me you're like that, but you're not. You're never down here.
No. So I'm a big sports guy. So Alex and I met actually playing youth hockey together when we were like 12 or 13 years old. And then I've just always been, so before I got into real estate, before I got in the car business, like my goal was I wanted to be a hockey coach. Like I wanted to do that for my profession. And I did it for a little bit, coach at the junior level, coach at the collegiate level too. So like I was always following athletes and their mentalities. And there's so many similarities between sports and business. And if you can just find the way to correlate those, like I see we got this Kobe Bryant picture up here.
Yes.
So like the Mama Mentality book, like it's an insane book. If you haven't read it yet, like I totally recommend it. Another one that I love is The Energy Bus by John Gordon. It's a really quick, easy read. You can even get it like the audio book too. But so much of that stuff is all about just having a positive mindset, like never getting too high and never getting too low. I think is crucial to your success. But that doesn't mean like you don't like stress and you don't freak out. Like for me, like there's certain times where like I think my world is ending over something that I know it's really not, but like when you're communicating with clients, with other agents, with other professionals in the industry, like you have to keep a certain level of calm, right? I actually had one transaction a couple years ago where kid I grew up going to school with, but we hadn't spoken probably since like the 7th grade. And he reached out to me, 15 years later, more than that. And he said, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, and I didn't know if you'd be able to help me. I'm like, oh, absolutely, man. Like, where are you looking? So we figured out where he wanted to be, and we start looking at properties. And then at closing, he said something that really stuck with me. He goes, I probably would have worked with you anyway just because we knew each other for so long. He said, but the reason I really wanted to work with you is because I see you do a certain level of business, a certain amount of business, and I didn't want to be like a deal where you had to close to be able to pay your bills, right? Like I wanted to be one of those ones where I'm working with an agent that knows what they're doing, but it doesn't really matter if I buy a house or not, because there's some people that aren't on a timeline, right? Some buyers or some sellers, like I want to move, but I don't have to move right now, right? But he felt like if he would have been working with an agent that maybe didn't do as much business, that they might have been trying to like pressure him or push him along, and you never know what comes up like with an inspection and stuff like that. He's just like, I want to work with somebody that I knew it didn't matter whether I closed or not. And I was like, no, dude, like that makes complete sense. We work in an industry where so many people, and like I actually ran a billboard with this about a year ago, pissed a lot of people off, but it said, I tell people all the time, don't work with the agent you know best. Don't work the loan officer you know best, because we like working in the industry, there's so many people that work in this industry. Mm-hmm. And so many of the consumers, they probably know 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 realtors, loan officers. Just because you know them really well doesn't mean that they're good at their job. And in this financial commitment you're making, it's going to be one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make in your life for most people. So don't just trust that to, your ex-aunt-in-law because you've known her for 25 years and she's been in the business for 20. It's like, just because you're doing that, I tell agents that all the time. I'll do a transaction with an agent and they have no idea what they're doing. And they'll say, I've been in the business for 20 years. And I tell them, the only thing that tells me is you've been fucking up real estate transactions since I was 10 years old. Like, that's all it tells me. But there's so many people that it's the truth, though, man. Like, you deal with it too. I know you get a buyer's agent or a listing. I'm sure for you probably get more shit from listing agents working in the loan officer side, right? Like, why aren't we closing on time? What's going on? Why aren't we in underwriting? It's like, dude, let them do your job. Like, Alex will tell you, if I call Alex, it's either to talk with him about a new potential client that we have, or it's just to BS. Like, I'm not calling him to check in. I'm like, hey, how's the file going, right? Like, what's going on with this deal? It's like, I know he's doing what he needs to do on his end. Like, he's a professional, right? Like, yeah. I tell every time I get an offer accepted, if I'm working on the buy side, I tell the listing agent, hey, if you have any mortgage-related questions, feel free to call Alex at any time. Don't call me. We're not going to play the game of telephone here. I'm not the loan officer, right? Like, and that's where so many things get mismanaged and get mingled, is because so many agents try to do too much, right? Like, when I got my real estate license, the instructor, he's like, listen, your job as an agent, your only job, you got to bring buyers and sellers together, negotiate terms and price. That's your job. And stay in your lane for everything else, right? Like, I'm not the title agent. I'm not the loan officer. I don't know those things. I'm not the homeowner. I'm not the insurance agent, right? I'm just handling the real estate transaction. And all I can tell you is what's going on in the real estate transaction part. And it's so natural because, too, I think a lot of times, and I'm sure you'll agree on this with me, but for the most part, it starts off with potential buyer reaches out to real estate agent, and then real estate agent passes them along to loan officer, right? Very rarely do they go to the loan officer first. And I always say the real estate part's the fun part of the transaction, right? Like, everyone likes going online and looking at the cool houses and going to do showings and stuff like that. No one wants to talk about their credit, and no one wants to talk about their, getting their tax returns turned over and stuff like that. So that's why it's so important and I tell all my agents this, to align with a good loan officer that's going to set you up for success and make sure that you're really ready to go once that buyer reaches out to you and wants to start looking.
For sure. I mean, a lot of what you do is it's professional. You talked about staying in your lane.
Yeah. I think it's being authentic too, though. To be like, authenticity always wins. In this industry, there's so much just like fake bullshit, man. Like, how many awards do we need, right? Like, I saw people sharing some shit last week. It's like top 50 agents on social media. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you got more followers than everyone else? Like, I don't even know. I literally don't know what this means.
Did you see the Halloween costumes? One of them was like top producing agent.
Yeah,
it was a costume.
Yeah,
and it said includes a magazine that you paid to be in.
Yes, exactly. It's just like, we don't need.
They had good loan officer ones too. By the way, we do the same thing.
1,000,000%. Yeah. This is the only industry though that I can think of that does stuff like that. Man, I'm granted, like, I haven't worked in everything, but it's just like, I don't know, right? And like, everyone's $1 million producer now.
Everyone's
like,
on Forbes. It's wild.
Or I remember the first year I got the Hour Real Estate All-Star. I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. And now it's like, you're on like year 6 or year 7, and like, everyone's just keeps sharing the same article over and over and over. And that's the other thing too. Like, you have to be individualistic with this and provide value. Don't just do the same thing that others are doing. I think it's different for us because us working in the industry, and especially with us in management roles too, because a big part of it is recruiting, right? And is bringing on, you want to bring on good LOs, good process, stuff like that. I want to bring in good agents too. So I interact with a lot more agents on social media than the average person would. But it's just like, have you seen like the breakdowns? Like, oh, like, house for $350 now and house for $350 6 months ago, and you weren't paying this much over list price now. Yeah. It's just like, how many agents are going to share that one? How many? 'Cause I had to have seen it at least 30 times.
Quite a few.
Right?
Quite a few.
It's like,
I like it though. It's creative.
It is creative, but it's just like, be your own level of creative, right? Like, don't just keep taking the same thing over and over and over again. I tell all my agents, like, you have to bring value to the consumer. Like, that's what's going to separate you from somebody else, is bringing value. Don't just like post stuff, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Like, share an article about something. Like, communicate with someone about, when I first started, and I was like, when I wanted to do this full time, my goal, I said, I wanted to talk with one new person a day about real estate. It didn't matter what it was, whether it was about getting them pre-approved, doing a CMA on their property, or just explaining a situation to somebody. I figured if I could talk to one new person a day about a real estate transaction or a potential real estate transaction, I was like, I knew that it's going to help the business grow.
For sure. How do you, I totally agree. How do you utilize the morning? And I know you mentioned, like, you look at your hot list, you know exactly what's going on. You have a simple method. You don't need a whiteboard. You don't need a CRM. You've got it written down. You know to just double check for certain key points.
Yep.
Running a team, running a business at the scale that you do, and you've even taken your own step back. just to build this business. And
Right.
I know that you're a caring individual. I can just tell by seeing you
Yeah.
that you will do for others
100%.
before you do for yourself.
Every time.
What is that morning? How important is the morning and being early for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I just think it's nice to be able to, because this business, a lot of the time, Kathy Zini works in our office. She's been in the industry for 40 years. Kathy Zini's actually, the cool thing about Kathy is she's had 2 really successful real estate careers. What I say about that is so she was a really good agent, built up a really good book of business in the early 80s to the early 90s. But then she had kids. So then she stayed home with her kids. And then once her kids got to be about middle school age, she got back into real estate and almost picked up right where she left off and had another really, really successful real estate career. So, but Kathy would always say, this business, a lot of it is just putting out fires. It's just stuff's going to come up, but you got to be ready. So if I have, like you said, my hot list, right? If I come in and I go over my list every morning, once that's done, I'm good with that for the day. Then it gives me the ability to handle all the problems that come up throughout the day to be able to be on the ball, right? So usually I'm done working on my business stuff, like my real estate side, by 10 or 11 a.m. And then from that point on, the rest of the day, it's, all right, what do the agents need? How can I help them? What questions might they have? But yeah, I think one thing I learned, when I was coaching collegiately down at Adrian, I coached with a guy named Gary Estalis, super successful coach. This guy would be successful at whatever he wanted to do, but he loves coaching hockey and just leading men, and that's his life's calling. And
I went to St. Mary's. I know a lot of those names.
Okay, so when I first talked with G, or at our first team meeting, my first year there, he goes, to lead is to serve. And that's exactly what it is, right? If you're going to be a leader, you have to serve the people that work around you. So just like you said, I do for our agents and for our clients before I ever do for myself. But I know in the back of my mind, by doing that, it's going to benefit me in the long run, right? If you do right by people, it just over time, it's going to pay off.
Givers gain, takers lose, right?
Lisa would always say, you get by giving. That's what you get by giving. So I always, whether it's, a client that didn't have a great transaction with one of our agents, could have been the agent's fault. Could have been the client's fault. Who knows what happened? Just trying to step in there and understanding that this is a people first industry, and you're gonna do a lot of real estate transactions. You're gonna sell a lot of houses. You have one reputation. That's it. You only have one reputation, and I've worked my ass off for 7 years to build a solid foundation on that reputation. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna let one transaction come in and ruin all of that for what we've built. And now, I've got 52 other agents now that are relying upon that, right? And they want
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of families.
And they, they want to make sure that they're working with someone that is headed in the right direction and is always working the right way. And that's exactly how I am, right? It's in this industry, sometimes you got to do some greasy things to close some deals, right? Every deal isn't going to be an easy, smooth transaction.
Yeah.
But to know that you can get
grease.
it done, 100%. But to know that you can get it done, I think that's the most important thing, and that's, again, what's going to attract more clients to you, more people to you in general. Just having those positive things are what's going to be most beneficial for you.
A lot of what you've said in the last few questions and things that you mentioned were, to me, it's just what I think of immediately is moral compass.
Yeah.
Sounds like a strong moral compass. And I remember even a few months ago, because I know you're amongst the community. You're not just with clients, like you said. You're around other agents, and you recruit, and you provide value, and you put content out there. And I remember a few months ago, you sent something out. I can't remember the post specifically, but I remember really liking it. It was 2 other agents, and it was about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It was literally a post on Facebook. Nothing, you could tell that there was no self gain out of it.
None.
And you could tell you were frustrated
I was
potentially
actually
about a transaction.
super nervous.
Tell me
Actually,
about this.
I was super nervous about that when it happened, just for the simple fact that I thought it might turn some people off, and it probably did. But at the end of the day, again, authenticity always wins, and I got to be myself, right? That's just what I got to do, and that's what makes me me. Is what I always tell everyone. That's what makes you you, is when you do stuff like that. So I wanted to get that out there. But yeah, there's just, it goes back to in any industry, some people just suck, and it is what it is. And there's going to be some people that are just going to get in the way of a closing. I tell people all the time, it'd be so much easier if I could just work with every client on my transaction. People so you could double dip, so you can make more money. It's don't get me wrong, the money wouldn't hurt, but no, it's because I know how to navigate through a transaction, and I'm going to look after both sides and try to be as fair as possible, right?
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
the one thing I don't think people realize. It's buyers versus sellers. Like, no, it's not. Like, everyone has the same goal in mind. The buyers want to buy the house. The sellers want to sell the house. Let's try to be as fair and as civil to each other as possible. And in this instance, this agent, she didn't get it. She was just so out of line and just speaking for her clients when, she wasn't supposed to, and then backtracking. And it was just one of those deals where I was just like, I hope I never have to deal with this woman again. And I just, not to be rude to her, and like obviously, everyone has a job, but like, it is a disservice to clients that there are agents like her that are working. Like, I feel terrible for people that end up working with her because I know that they're getting at a disservice. And I think some people are saying like, oh, like it's only going to get better now because how the market is slowing down. A lot of people are going to get out of the business. Like that could be true, but the other thing you have to realize is, I mean, the days of having 20 offers on every house is probably gone for the next little while.
Yeah.
So it might actually make it easier for those shitty agents to stay in the industry a little bit longer because they might be able to get more offers accepted and stuff,
it's a
right?
1099 sole
Yeah.
proprietor. You could still have your side job. You could still do it and dabble on the side, which I for sure disagree with.
Yeah.
I think it should be a professional
And that's the
career.
thing, like, look at me, like, I started part-time too, but if you're going to be part-time,
Our forever part-timers is more
Yeah.
so what I meant.
Yeah.
That jump in when it's hot and kind of just mosey on
Well,
when it's not.
I'll quote this when I first started coaching hockey. To coach, you have to go through there's different levels, right? So you can only do one level a year. So I remember I was at my level 1 coaching clinic, and the guy's name was Bob Mancini. He was the director of USA Hockey at the time. I don't know if he still is or not, but Bob Mancini, because most of the coaches at that level were all volunteers. He was going to tell you guys this one thing. He said, just because you're a volunteer does not give you the right to suck. Just because you're a part-time agent, that doesn't mean it gives you the right to suck.
Right.
If you're going to be a part-time agent, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you're delivering the same level of service to your clients and to the other agent, because us as agents, a lot of time, we're relying upon, just like you as a loan officer too, we're relying upon what the other person tells us, right? So like if they're misleading us, that screws the both of us over,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And
others. It makes
And
us
all
look
the other
bad to our
parties.
clients, right?
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, like, I can't control what another grown adult does, but at the end of the day, our clients are relying upon us to convey to them the information that we're getting from that other agent.
For sure. I mean, it's on us to shield it. It's on us to utilize our best judgment.
Yep.
To give them the best guidance possible. Look out for all parties.
Yep.
I love that. So I'll do a deal here and there. I don't really originate as much. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but
but yeah,
I like my other. Want to help my other folks get successful. The LOs to find that business, but. I spoke to an agent. A referral came from me from a past employee of mine.
Okay.
And she just came right to me, and I didn't know her agent. Reached out to her, and just little things like this is one example. Like she obviously loving working with me, and appraisal came in like 10, 15 grand high. We already had sellers concessions, right? And I remember, what loan officers would do, and what I did not do is did not let the client know that we're going to raise the price and get concessions. I went to the agent first, right? And I said, hey, would this be possible? Just so you know, we can drop their payment more. Hey, I'm so glad you asked me that because, the sellers already think they're giving away the house for a steal. They don't know that it came in above value. I don't want to ruin the transaction. She calls me for things. The buyer, our client, say, hey, Rami, should I do this? What should I make my offer? Hey, I love the house. I think that makes sense. Here's what it looks like. But you've got to talk to Kyle.
Yep.
That's your agent. That's what they do. And I think in our generation, I think a big piece of what we're missing is communication.
Yeah.
We text at best. There's no tone via text. When shit goes wrong, we disappear. Rather than just picking up the phone and talking to the other party, getting on the same page, both trying to understand each other, and doing what's best for everybody around us. And I think that's what a lot of people are really missing.
Yep, 100%. Communication is key, and just being transparent.
Awesome. I got a lot out of this. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Again, Kyle Lang, Remax Dream Properties, doing some great things. I love having you here. Took a lot out of it, and hope to see you again.